civics, a sense of identity. That national pride means more than a flag in the sky. Well, boy, that one so obscene as our children suffer and die. So let's fix the twig while it could still bend.
National service for them.
We've lost enough of our young men.
National service for them.
I remember Ella Andel's anthem. She said there's a missing generation and our duty is to find them. We refused to listen or did not hear. So now one by one they come in and two by two they disappear. We must catch them early. They are our greatest resource. Whether Girl Guides or Brownies, Cub Scouts or the Cadet Force. Channel their energies toward culture or sport. The devil always busy, idle hands are his prime resort. So before to petty crimes they descend.
National service for them.
Finding work for lawyers quick to defend.
National service for them.
Our youth have been crying and we must answer with urgency. So stop playing ostrich, pull your neck out the sand and see. This country is sinking into a crime-infested labas. Forget the fetting and drinking, we need solution and need them fast. So before they end up in the condemn,
National service for them.
to turn a rough coal into a diamond gem.
National service for them. I hear a leader with his racist views. He said, keep that for Africans, but don't touch my Hindus. They have their little children under control. But I remember Joey Ramaya, Narish, and a man named Dole. We can't afford to build barriers like the Berlin Wall. When there's a raging fire, it affects one and all. Besides, who does be complaining that their children getting kidnapped? But now the time to do something, you're bumping your gum and just talking crap. To set the youth straight, what we recommend. National service for them.
We want a strategy, not a stratagem.
National service for them.
Our youth are in crisis. It's a national emergency. And it's everyone's business, not just Mova but Caroni. Who want to wear blinkers must open their eyes and see. Is every class, every color that filling with cemetery. This bigger than UNC, PNM.
National service for them.
Before they kick the door in by you, my friend.
National service for them.
On Dependency, with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live, on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page, and YouTube channel.
Good morning. and welcome to Dependency. Thank you very much for joining us on I-95.5 FM and live on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Good morning, Mr. Garth.
Good morning, Natasha. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Trinidad and Tobago. Those of you joining us on Facebook and YouTube, we thank you very much, as usual, for your continued support. We have lots to unpack this morning. Lots. This is your morning to be educated. Again. And we want to dedicate this program this morning to the Judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, this is coming from a place of, as is always recommended when our leaders take the podium, different podiums, all hands on deck, all shoulders to the wheel. So this morning is just that we're doing. This is an opportunity for judges and magistrates especially to learn something about substance abuse, because we don't think they really have, most of them have a good picture, a good grasp of it. This statement comes in the heels of a judgment that was handed down on October 3rd, my birthday, the opening of the law term. This, before that, was a magistrate who said she didn't know anything about ketamine, methamphetamine. So we understand, and this is our part we're doing here to help you understand. Because for those of you who missed this story, and it so ties into what Natasha is about to do for you today. Natasha is about to do a presentation for you that she did in Jamaica. Tore the place up. And she will explain that before she starts her presentation. It's a slide presentation. We could explain it to you while it's going to those of you listening on radio. But for those of you, especially parents and employers, we would like you to pay attention to this program this morning. You know, an employer, call them. Because I could guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, that in every aspect of our lives in Trinidad and Tobago with regard to employment, there's an addict or two in every building in this country, even in the church. I guarantee you that. Addicted to some substance or activity that eventually will destroy their lives. For those of you who missed it, we're going to deal with a medical professional. This is going to be our lead story today. Because even in the field of medicine, they are not exempt. Remember, there was a story of a doctor getting murdered in San Fernando after he and his colleague went to purchase drugs on the wharf. What became of that? Nothing. And we tend to pretend that they are the only two doctors out of the thousands of doctors we have in Trinidad and Tobago who are using drugs. That is not so. Because doctors use drugs for various reasons. To keep going, for depression, they have the highest, as we were told yesterday by a very reliable source, that they have the highest rate for suicide in the world.
Among the professions.
Among
and
the
vets,
professions.
actually, veterinarians are high on that list as well.
And dentists.
Yes.
So listen to this. In the meantime, you prepare yourself to spend a little time with us this morning to look at something. And we're going to present, Natasha, as I said, going to present it to you. But if you missed this story, and this is coming from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Facebook page. Doctor charged for possession of dangerous drugs fined $14,000. A 29-year-old medical doctor who pleaded guilty on Wednesday to possession of dangerous drugs charges was fined $14,000 by a Sangre Grande magistrate. Andel Jagannath of Diamond Vale, San Fernando, was fined $6,000 on a charge of possession of mushrooms for the purpose of trafficking, $4,500 on a charge of possession of ecstasy, and $3,500 on a charge of possession of ketamine by Magistrate Sharon Raphael.
Fined. Remember that. That's an important detail.
Follow me here. Jagannath was given 6 months to pay the fine or serve 9 months hard labor in default. Well, we know that latter is not happening. He was arrested on October 3rd and charged on October 4th by PC Johnson of the Valencia Police Post, who continued inquiries into the discovery of the narcotics during a routine traffic stop.
According to police reports, at 4:40 p.m. on October 3rd, 2023, police officers were on inquiries along the Eastern Main Road, Valencia, when, on reaching the vicinity of the Valencia bypass roundabout, they observed a white Hyundai Tucson in a stationary position facing west along the eastbound lane. Police officers stopped and engaged the occupants of the vehicle when they detected a strong scent of cannabis emanating from the vehicle. The lawmen alighted from the police vehicle and subsequently conducted a search of the vehicle in the occupant's presence. While searching the contents of a black drawstring tote bag on the rear seat of the vehicle, police found 2 transparent plastic packets containing a powder-like substance. A larger transparent plastic package containing smaller transparent plastic packets, each containing a brown translucent solid substance, a transparent plastic packet containing dried plant-like material resembling that of dried mushrooms, and a transparent square plastic containing small similar plant-like material. The men were then detained. Now, here's the rub. Following further investigation, the driver indicated that the items, ketamine, ecstasy, shrooms, were for his recreational use. And I pause for effect. The investigation also included officers attached to the Valencia Police Post, Criminal Investigation Department, and the Special Investigations Unit. Now, the latter unit is one of the most serious units in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. They have a job to do. They have tons and tons of evidence like this in their possession of drugs seized. And no matter how many times this has happened, we've always seen a doctor telling a magistrate, not even a doctor telling me, Garth Sinclair. By the way, I'm Garth Sinclair, I'm not Garth Christopher. I'm Garth Sinclair.
Sinclair,
all right?
Sinclair, Ola.
A doctor telling me that he has this in his possession for personal use. I was remanding him to rehab immediately. This is what we have drug treatment courts for.
Send him
right?
to the drug treatment court.
Send him to the drug treatment courts. What you did, actually, good magistrate, and I know there's a balancing act between pleasing the public and serving justice to the person standing in front of you. We know that. We know there's a balancing act.
Or send him to jail because he was charged with possession of the substance for trafficking.
No. Here's the rub. You sent a doctor back to work who confessed to you that he uses mushrooms, ketamine, and ecstasy recreationally. And if we are serious about drug demand reduction in Trinidad and Tobago, then we need to start setting examples. Now let's give you the benefit of the doubt. You don't know. So this morning we will let you know. Natasha, we dealing with substance abuse in the workplace. This doctor has a workplace. Did his colleagues know that he was using these drugs recreationally? Now imagine.
Is he working in the public health sector? That's
where was
my
he
first
working?
question.
Right. What is he private practice, or is he in the government, the state-run medical a state-run medical institution? Now imagine some of the effects of these drugs last 24 hours. So imagine after a Sunday night or Saturday night, he has to go to the hospital the next day to perform an operation under the influence of ecstasy or ketamine or mushrooms.
Or to see a patient, just to evaluate a patient, to do
And
a
recommend,
consultation,
right.
to prescribe a medication.
Yeah. Now, you see, we opening a can of worms here this morning on purpose to show you where you missed the mark again. We forgive, we understood. Let me just say that the last magistrate who said she didn't understand methamphetamine, that the police took 3 years surveilling an individual, and he was caught finally, and he got bail. Now, during the course of this program, we will show you the effects of these drugs. So you will understand that what should have happened if he told you it was for personal use in front of me. I would have told him, okay, I remand you in custody. if we could get a drug test done to prove that he's telling the truth. Because from how I saw the pictures and how these drugs are packaged, you don't package drugs like that for personal use.
Correct.
Unless you buy all of them the same day and they catch you the same day.
But he was charged for trafficking of 2 of the 3 substances, wasn't he? So
No,
and that was because of how they were found and how they were packaged.
thank you. No, the police not stupid. No, the problem is here, Mercers. The problem is here that we keep saying one thing on one hand and doing something else. When some magistrates and judges give us a full pail of milk, someone comes and kicks it over.
Yep.
We need to stop doing this. We need to start setting examples. Each of these drugs come with a count, let's just say, to use the outside jurisdiction term. And each of these drugs carry 2 to 5 years in prison. There are people in our prisons right now who on remand for less than this.
Yep.
Less than this, way less than this.
And less harmful drugs.
And less harmful drugs at that. We talking about class A drugs here, hallucinogens. Ketamine can be used also for date rape.
Correct. In the commission of another crime.
In the commission of another crime. This is how serious this was, Magistrate Raphael. And as I said, we're not coming after you this morning. Let's say we speaking to you because you're in a position of ignorance and you don't understand how dangerous these drugs are. So we'll show you this morning. Please take it as a teaching lesson and understand that we need to do better for our citizens. Now, this doctor clearly has a problem. This doctor is a poly addict. It's not marijuana alone he was caught with. As a matter of fact, they were smoking marijuana when he was caught with these other drugs. This doctor is a poly addict. And you slap this doctor on the wrist with a $6,000 fine and give him 6 months to pay. Now, what are you saying to other doctors? What are you saying to the guys languishing on remand yard right now, who is there for the last 10 to 12 years because he cannot get bail for half pound of marijuana?
I think they may have taken into account the gentleman's profession.
Okay.
And therefrom his class and position in society. And that it is evident to me that your class and your position in society, your status in society, determines how you're treated by the court.
We could assume that. And it is not right. Think about families who read this, who have a son right now on remand for half pound of weed, which decriminalization would have been able to fix.
Yep.
Apparently, we have not sorted that out yet.
No.
So here we are, chasing our tails again. And when are we going to start setting examples? As I said, this doctor should have you should have reported to the medical board that a doctor came before me who is a poly addict, and we recommend that his license be suspended until he gets help.
Yep.
That is what should have happened.
Yep.
Not give him a slap on the wrist and send him back to operate on a patient while under the influence of either of these drugs.
Because technically he has a conviction against his name now. A fine is a conviction.
No. Suppose he goes to operate on a patient. Now, if he does that and he was just on mushrooms and he starts to hallucinate, then an investigation should have started in this doctor's tenure. How many operations has he done? If he's, a surgeon, or recommendations of medicine, how many people would have died under his watch? This is what the public should be hearing now. Not just, hey, go back inside and hide quick. That is what you did. You send him back to hide and continue to use drugs. This individual is a sick individual, and you have drug treatment courts under your watch. This is the time for the history of Trinidad and Tobago. We should have made a doctor go through drug treatment courts.
Create history with that.
Create history with that. Instead, you sent him back to work.
And that might have saved him from being, from his license being revoked and from the conviction staying against his name. So he may have a chance, if he had gone through the drug treatment court system, he would have a chance to redeem his career and to get sober.
Because he got away with it and it could get worse.
Exactly.
Next thing you know, he could be in the news next week. Karma is something else, you know. So, Natasha, without further ado, before, you know how time flies here, explain to the folks, before we take this break, explain what they're going to see this morning.
All right, so the presentation I'm going to do for you today is a longer version of what I would have presented at the DisruptHR launch in Kingston, Jamaica a couple of weeks ago. And it is focusing on addiction in the workplace. Now, just very quickly, DisruptHR is a franchise, a brand, in which HR professionals learn about their profession and how they can, as the name implies, disrupt the HR practices that go on in industries and companies and businesses all over the world. So my contribution to the DisruptHR Kingston was a presentation on addiction in the workplace using my dear husband and life partner, Garth Sinclair's story as an example of how companies and organizations and employers ought not to treat with someone who has an addiction in the workplace.
All right, so let's take a break quickly. And when we return, as I said, this is the lead story today, and we'll be speaking with a medical professional who we're all familiar with. He will give his take on this issue. That's Dr. Fuad Khan. And let's hear what he has to say as a medical practitioner, if this was okay or if we should just get past this and move on. All right, so let's go to a break. And when we return, Natasha will do her presentation for you. This is time for you to learn something. So if you know a magistrate or a judge, a magistrate especially, please ask them to tune into Dependency this morning. There's no shame in it. We're not trying to belittle anyone. We're just trying to be a part of the solution in Trinidad and Tobago. Remember to join us on Facebook and YouTube. And those of you listening on radio, thank you very much. We'll be back.
Cappy, talk to you now, boy. I got a small work for you to do. Make a quick 10 G's. We go do for me.
10 G's? What's that how I do there, boy?
What you doing? Taking your boat, run up the islands, pick up some people and then bring them back here for me. That's all you have to do.
That's something like human trafficking, boy. That's a serious crime. I can't make that.
Trafficking in human beings is a serious violation of a person's human rights. It violates a person's right to freedom of movement, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and freedom of identity. It is a heinous crime which affects local, regional, and international peace and security. A victim of human trafficking is subjected to many types of abuse. The crime destroys a person's dignity and self-worth. Victims often feel hopeless, are suicidal, and are stigmatized in their communities. Child victims are deprived of their rights to education, play, and social interactions. They're essentially robbed of their childhood, and that can never be regained once those years have passed. If we do little or nothing to fight against human trafficking in our country, we can face economic sanctions from international agencies and partners. Our country will be losing money. Doing little or nothing to fight against human trafficking will tarnish our country's international image and, most of all, the value we place on human life. Human trafficking is no respecter of persons. Anyone can be a victim. So let us all strive to safeguard human life and dignity in Trinidad and Tobago.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Hello.
Hi, this is Patricia Kent from HMP London. Can I speak to Miss Sheila, please?
This is Miss Sheila.
Hi, I've got an important call for you. Please hold the line. Mommy, it's Sherry.
Oh God, Sherry, we looking for you all the time. 3 weeks now. Where you going?
Mommy, according to tell you, I get locked up. I had drugs in my luggage and I'm in England right now. In jail.
Oh God, Sherry, what will you do? How you reach there? Oh God, how we gonna do?
Oh God, Mommy, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It'll be alright. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Eye on Dependency, reality radio at its best every Sunday on I 95.5 FM. Don't miss it.
Hola, my name is Elena. Well, it's actually not my real name. You don't really care, do you? All you care about is want to pay your money to my boss that I look pretty, smell nice, smile for you, and let you have good time. Enjoying yourself and doing to me whatever you want to do for the money you paid. What you don't see or know is that I don't get any part of the money you paid. My boss takes all of it. I am forced to work, taking as many clients as my boss tells me to. I am beaten, made to take drugs, and I cannot leave this kind of work on my own. I am a victim of human trafficking. Please, por favor, help me.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency, and I'm about to begin my presentation now. Short man, can we get the first slide, please? I'm going to run through this quickly, but not as quickly as I did at DisruptHR, because that format is 5 minutes. So I had 5 minutes to deliver these 20 slides that you're going to see. Can we get slide A, please, short man? All right. So this is Garth Sinclair.
There's a picture of me, a headshot of me in my Trinidad and Tobago Regiment apparel.
Yes. Smiling face. You could see mother's milk in his face. A young man with a bright future ahead of him. He joined the military at age 18, and he intended to do well for himself and for his family. This was, he has the face of, a promise of hope in these pictures. Next one, short man. Next slide, please. All right. So here we have Garth Sinclair, who excelled in physical fitness, in drill, in shooting. And here you see him pictured training a basketball team. He's with one of his colleagues, and he's performing a demonstration with some of his other colleagues. So he was the youngest person to become a physical training instructor at the time. This was his passion. He lived and breathed it, and he was on track to make this his career in the military, to be the PTI for the Defense Force, and also to share his skills with other members of the community and the society in Trinidad and Tobago. Next one, short man. Yes, he was real handsome, beauty culture.
Was.
He still is.
If you just join us, you're listening to Dependency, and Natasha is doing a presentation for you right now on substance abuse, the progression of substance abuse in the workplace, and some employers can miss.
Right. So this next one, this is at his passing out. His mother's next to him. One of the senior officers in the regiment is talking to him.
That's Major General Edmund Dillon.
Dillon, he was what?
He was a second lieutenant then. He just came
time.
over from the Coast Guard.
Right. So his family is proud of him and what he's accomplished. He has earned great reviews from his seniors, among them this senior lieutenant, and he's on track to advance up the ranks in the military.
Now, while Natasha is doing this presentation, folks, think of someone in your organization with the same journey.
Mm-hmm. The same trajectory. He is eager, he is young, eager, and avid. He's a good soldier. He is a model soldier up to this point. And again, on track to advance up the ranks. Next one. Right. So the next one shows some of the activities that he partook in while in the military. And of course, he wanted to advance by obtaining more passes. So in order to do that, more CXC passes, in order to do that, he would need to stay up late and study. And a senior soldier offered him crack cocaine. And that was it. He became hooked, and he was discharged eventually after going through a lot of turmoil and committing a lot of the signs and symptoms which you'll hear about later that he displayed while he was serving those 9 years. He was discharged from the military with no help from the institution.
Now, this picture you see here with the drum is me as a drummer in Bedford. That's me as a squad leader with the SMG. That's me on the range with the SLR. And that's me singing at a Army Calypso competition. That is when I was in the height of using my drugs. And I only entered the competition knowing that I'll place in the first three to get the money to go and buy cocaine. Because from the time they gave me the prize money, I was heading to Carnage to buy cocaine.
Drugs.
Yeah.
And
this
you can
confirm.
You can, you want on to the next one, all right. So and he was discharged. So he was discharged from the military, and he continues to battle with his addiction. He goes in and out of rehab, and he finds work as the lead singer of this band here, Kalian, and you can see him in the back there. He's the lead singer of the band. He gains the trust of his employers. Arthur Marcial, who's in front there with the guitar, I saw him this week in the grocery. He gains the trust of the employers, and they started to notice something's missing in the band room. So they offered Garth, can you stay in the band room and let us see how these things are going missing?
No, actually, I
offered.
I asked them to stay in the band room because where I was living at the time on Cooperative Street by Narish Budram, close to them, I sold the furniture there, and I had to leave the place. So then I asked him, I needed somewhere to live. So they gave me the band room.
They happily obliged.
Yes, and of course, Arthur was more than happy to let me stay in the band room.
Yes, but you had already been pilfering stuff from the band room. And of course, Arthur and his fellow leaders of the band had no idea that Garth was living with a crack cocaine addiction. So they gave him access to all of the equipment that the band had.
He, as an employer, didn't know that.
Which eventually led to Garth's arrest, charge, and conviction. He served 6 months. He was convicted of 1 year, but he served 6 months in prison.
Now, what you see here now in my prison mugshot that I got, thankfully, from the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service when I requested it. They were happy to oblige, so I use it in all my presentations now.
Yep. So this was the end result of his untreated crack addiction.
Now, let me just state for the record that even back then, the regiment, the Defense Force didn't know what hit it. They didn't know. So, and their best and only solution was to discharge anybody who tested positive.
Right, we're on to the next slide. So now that he's in recovery after he was released from prison, he has now dedicated his life to educating the public of Trinidad and Tobago about the dangers of substance abuse. And he worked at the Civilian Conservation Corps with young people for a bit, not only recruiting them, but lecturing to them, working in the PR department, and ensuring that at least the trainees of the CCC were well aware of the dangers of substance abuse and the risks associated with it. And he is recognized to this day by CCC trainees who remember his very vivid and engaging presentations. Next one, Shortman.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and what's happening is Natasha is doing a slide presentation for the viewers. This is a presentation she did in Jamaica just last week, and she really blew the place away with it. And it's always nice to know that you can leave your shores and impress people in another jurisdiction with your work. And I really want to commend Natasha because after she was done, she called me and people were congratulating her while she was speaking to me on the presentation. They even, said hello to me too and how impressed they were with the journey. Go ahead, Natasha.
Yes. So again, in his journey to educate the public about substance abuse, he developed this radio program, Dependency. He came up with the idea. He said, let's get on radio and share this information far and wide. And you see him pictured here interviewing Len Booksy Sharp. This was in the very early days of our Dependency, and of course working behind the board. So he's learning new skills. He is talking with prominent citizens and others who have walked the same journey that he has. And 21 years later, he's still at it, right? Next one, short man. And now that he's in recovery as well, he very ironically, but not unsurprisingly, also does lectures for the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, the same institution that unceremoniously kicked him out for his substance abuse. So he returns there to give lectures to the different formations of the Defense Force. Here he is pictured doing lectures for the Air Guard, Prison Service, and Regiment, and he's done for all of the formations, but he also does his presentations in schools and institutions, those who invite him. And I think he enjoys, and you can confirm this, God, I think he very much enjoys being back and giving of his services back to the Defense Force, because he's as he says, he has, Tetron in his blood, and if given the opportunity to return, he would do so.
Yes, and yes. I'm just happy when I have the opportunity to be in the military environment, because it's the only place for me. It's the place I call home, and that will never change. And I continue to ask God, when I die and I come back, please send me back Tetron Barracks and Babel too.
Right. So before I get to the 5 steps to recovery, I just wanted to share these 4 things. First is about addiction. Anyone can develop a drug use disorder. Garth is not special. People who become addicted to a substance or activity are not special. It is a disease of the brain. Garth was young, fit, and eager to perform well in the workplace, but the institution that employed him was either not aware or not willing to treat the individual in front of them who displayed the signs and symptoms with the care and compassion required. Addiction is a mental health problem that causes compulsive and sometimes dangerous and/or criminal behavior, and that is exemplified in Garth's story. And of course, the consequences are not just on the individual, but the family and the institution for which they work. Go back to signs and symptoms, though, short man, please.
And this is why the magistrate had the opportunity to help this doctor, and the magistrate missed that too.
Yes.
And
these are the signs and symptoms that I mentioned. Absenteeism. These are just a few. Low productivity and low quality work, borrowing and/or stealing from co-workers, a decline in personal appearance and hygiene, and disruptive or risk-taking behavior. And this is a long list, but these are the ones that Garth would have displayed while at work at the military and in the band. And they are some of the most common signs of addiction in the workplace that everyone can look out for. Of course, HR has a special role to play in terms of providing help and resources, but everyone can play their part in identifying the signs and symptoms and offering help or support. Next one. Now, I wanted to stick this in because as Caribbean people, we tend to feel that, one, alcohol is not a drug. It is. It is a mood or mind-altering substance. And all drugs affect brain function, which is why we were so astounded that this medical professional is caught with these very dangerous drugs and was let go. But being able to handle your liquor is not a flex. You may be a high-functioning alcoholic. You may be able to go to work and put on clean clothes and not be disruptive and not cause any trouble. But because you're high-functioning does not mean you're healthy, physically or in your brain. Alcohol affects your brain, just like every other drug. So we should not be swayed into believing that because someone can hold their liquor, that they don't have a problem with alcohol. That problem may not manifest in the workplace, but it may manifest at home. And wherever you notice that problems do exist, they have to be treated with. Next one. Short man.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and Natasha is doing a slide presentation for you all this morning on substance abuse in the workplace, how to spot it, what to do about it. Thank you those on YouTube and Facebook as well. Remember, while you're there, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Click on that bell.
Right. Gambling is also an addiction. We have had many people on our Dependency who have spoken about their gambling addiction. And there are many problems that arise from this form of entertainment. And gambling, when you're winning, it stimulates dopamine in the brain, which is the same chemical that is stimulated when you use substances. And it requires the same treatment as a drug addiction. You can't pray it away. You need to access treatment, psychological treatment in a rehabilitation facility. Gambling is an addiction, no matter what form of gambling you choose. It can become an addiction. Yes, of course, not everybody who drinks is an alcoholic. Not everybody who gambles is a gambler, has a gambling problem. But when it does become a problem, it needs to be identified and dealt with. So the next slide, I'm going to start with the first of my takeaways, my 5 steps to recovery for employers. So, right, 5 steps to recovery. This is what I learned from Garth's journey about addiction in the workplace. You see, he's still handsome, this is a recent photo. He's still handsome, man, very much so. 63 years and all. Pensioner nonetheless. Right, so the first step is to create a culture of openness around addiction. Many employees will hide their addiction because of shame and stigma, and I'm sure that is something that Garth did in both of the workplaces that he was in. He didn't want anyone to know that he had an addiction. He was ashamed. We should be able to normalize recovery. Garth didn't have the opportunity to go through treatment while he was in the military, nor while he was in the band, but he is using himself as a resource now for the Defense Force because he has seen the need for us to normalize recovery, meaning normalize people being admitted to treatment, being successful in treatment, being successful in recovery, and using their stories to help others. Let us avoid stigmatizing language. Let us not say things like, we don't want this drunkard in any company. We don't want this piper in the company. Shoo-shooing behind people's back. He does use. He does drink. She does. Let us normalize not using stigmatizing language to describe people who have a problem with drugs or an activity. And the 4th point is, can we try to provide alcohol-free options at gathering? Now, this is something I have tried to do in my workplace since I started at the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs in 2005. This is something I am constantly advocating for because we don't know who among us who is going to be at this gathering has a problem with alcohol. And while we don't want to prevent other people from having a good time, quote unquote, there's also a responsibility that we have as a group to those who are in recovery, who may be in recovery or may be struggling still. So is it so difficult for us to have a celebration or a gathering without alcohol? It's something to think about.
And we can spot the alcoholic in our midst. Once you have a company function, there's free alcohol.
Yes.
That person who we have to drag out at the end of the function.
Yes, we have to throw club soda on their face and who losing their phone and stumbling all over the place. Yeah.
Carry them out, they're stealing alcohol and all of these things. These are signs and symptoms. But you see, once you could come to work tomorrow and do your job, that's what they really care about.
Correct.
But in the meantime, you're suffering, you're struggling. The person is struggling, believe me, when I tell you this.
Right. So step 2 is to have a plan, have an action plan. Please ensure that supervisors and managers know the company protocol when it comes to substance abuse in the workplace, if you have any protocols or policies to guide you. And ensure that they are trained to recognize the symptoms. Because you may think that some of these symptoms are due to, and they may be due to other things, other personal problems, but at least if you recognize the symptoms, you can address it front on and make sure that, as well, that they are trained to provide help and to direct people to resources, that they know what to do and who to speak to get this person the help that they need. Next one. Step 3 is educating staff and management. Not just the managers and supervisors, but staff as well. Everybody can benefit from education on drug use disorders. Everybody. Because everybody knows someone who has one. And that will help to break down the shame of addiction and the stigma that persons who have these problems carry around with them. Being an addict or having an addiction is not a fun thing, It is very painful. So don't assume that the alcoholic or drug addict or gambling addict in your workplace is having a good time. They're not. They're in pain. They are ill and they need help. And it would also help to provide occasional messages about the healthcare benefits that you may offer at your workplace or the employee assistance programs, which may be of benefit to staff and management if a problem arises. People need to know that if you are on a healthcare plan, that the healthcare plan does provide for drug treatment, for example.
And we hope one day that substance abuse will be fully recognized as a health issue, and thereby encouraging insurance companies as well to
cover that the cost of treatment
in rehabilitation.
Yes,
because there are some people who cannot afford it. But if you have insurance which includes substance abuse, ironically, you have to take a drug test to get a policy.
Yes.
But the thing is,
but you can't get help.
If it is declared, just like we want PAN declared the national instrument, well, it should be declared publicly, carved in stone, so now insurance companies can be asked to foot a bill for someone to go to rehab, and they pay back through their premium.
Yes.
And that will help a great deal. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency. Thank those of you who are looking at the presentation right now on Facebook and YouTube. And to those of you on radio, we hope you're following us. Natasha is doing a presentation of substance abuse in the workplace, how to spot it, how to treat with it.
All right, just 2 more slides, including this one. Step 4 is to celebrate recovery and sobriety. Now, again, in Garth's case, he could have been the model soldier still. If he had been given help, he would have kept his job, and he might have been, a major or a colonel by this point, right? But we encourage workplaces and businesses to celebrate recovery and sobriety. Celebrate the successes. If you have helped an employee to regain his or her, to go to treatment, celebrate them. That helps to boost morale across the company because the staff and management know that the company is willing to help this individual rather than kick them to the curb. And it also breaks down the stigma attached to addiction so that everyone knows that this is a problem that can be treated, and the company has a progressive view on it. And it shows that the employees at this company are valued, not just for their productivity, but for themselves. They are valued employees, they are valuable individuals, and their families as well will of course appreciate that your workplace can do this for you.
How many of you would have witnessed an employee, very good employee, having to leave in disgrace and shame from your workplace because of their addiction?
Yep.
It's something they don't make the news all the time, but it happens. And coming back to this doctor, suppose this doctor is the supplier for other doctors where he works. Suppose he's the man. There are so many layers to this incident here, to this sad state of affairs that we have a medical professional who is a poly-addict.
Yep.
And I'm sure he consumes alcohol as well. Go ahead, Natasha.
Yep. So the final slide, have support and resources available. Managers, especially, need to be in tune with the workloads and the stress levels of employees. Managers are so often concerned about, are you making your targets? Are you completing your tasks? Are you XYZ? But these people are human beings. They have issues. They have problems. And stress, as we know now, is a high contributor to problems in your life, including addiction. So managers need to be in tune with people's workloads and the stress that is induced by that, and be able to identify external organizations that can provide help, like Ion Dependency perhaps, and to lean on persons in recovery in your organization. They are the best people to rely on when you need to make an intervention, when you need to identify those resources outside of your company, when you need to highlight, and as with the previous slide said, celebrate people in recovery and celebrate sobriety. These are your champions. We always talk about ambassadors and champions in the workplace. People in recovery are your best champions, not just for the company, but for the position that your company has taken on substance abuse. And that final slide brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I had to present these slides, people, in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So 15 seconds per slide. It was quite daunting, but again, because of the approach that I took and the fact that those people in that room didn't know Garth from a can of paint. So this story really was really touching to them, and not just touching, but educational as well. And I was happy to do it.
All right. Thank you very much, Natasha. Those of you just joining us, you missed a nice presentation. Thank you, those of you on YouTube especially. Remember, please, while you're there, please like and subscribe to the channel. Shortman, you can put back up the image of, put back up A, please. And what you just missed, those of you just joined us, you can come back to the page after the program, and you can get the rerun if you wish. All right. But today is a lesson in, for especially for employers. We have employers. We have people under your care who are predisposed as well. And with the opening of the gate now, so to speak, for the police service to recruit 1,000 recruits, personnel, let's pray that we don't give away accuracy for speed. Now, for the public, they're not going to recruit 1,000 one time, it's over a period of time. However, let us not now give away accuracy for speed. And we have a lot of, and I guarantee you, every batch that we pass out, if you pass out 100 people, at least 20 of them will have a problem. Because there are a number of us who are predisposed. Some of mental ill health in the family, whether grandmother or grandfather side, alcoholism, you name it, there's one person who will be a carrier and will be passed on from generation to generation. And which child you have right now in your household will be that child. Which one is the one? You don't know until they open that door. And today, we're going to show the magistrate as well, after this break, because we can go to the different types of drugs now.
Yes.
They caught this guy with.
Sure.
Right. So, Shortman, we're going to a break. And when we come back, we'll start with the ketamine. Let's show the people, and then you have a short video on ketamine. So this session here now is for the magistrates and judges, right? The magistrates especially, because these cases come across your table.
Yep.
And if from the last marriage, she said she didn't know. God, I'm so passionate about this. That,
it's infuriating, really. No, it is, because if you don't know, find out.
The magistrate who said she didn't know about the danger of methamphetamine, and it's again the irony in that is the drug treatment courts falls under the purview of the judiciary.
Yep.
So it's incumbent on you all then to do that research. I know practical, now I know theory. So ketamine, we'll get a short video on it. Ecstasy, we also have a short video. And mushrooms, you have a short video on that. And then we'll show you a robbery that took place on Charlotte Street just recently. And let me ask you the question, what drug do you think these guys were on? Was it natural, or were they fueled by something? Because 3 of them held on to a woman. That woman held on to that bag for their life.
She did.
And they kicked the black out for that woman to get that bag, only to find out there were US and TT currency in it by the thousands.
Oh, wow.
So she was on her way to do some transaction. Or
oh,
something
wow.
Else, visiting citizen, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to go to a break, and when we return, we will show you the 3 drugs that this doctor was caught with. tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. We're not knocking the magistrate. Let's say the magistrate didn't know. Magistrate was ignorant. But this was handled wrong. Again, we have a doctor in our midst who is a poly addict. And who knows how many other more doctors are exist like him in Trinidad and Tobago.
Absolutely.
It's a group of people we don't touch.
Because of the status that they hold in society.
They gods, literally. Doctors can save life or take it away.
Correct. And of course, they spend a whole heap of money to go to school to learn doctor, right?
That's right.
So
it's
you
not
gotta respect them for that.
Yes. Whoever wants to become a doctor, I commend you, because it takes a lot of brains and money to become a qualified physician.
Yep.
So congratulations to you. But just like everybody else, just like the police service, just like the prison service, the fire service, the Coast Guard, the medical fraternity too, and the judiciary, you all have addicts among you.
Yep.
Let's not try to fool ourselves. Please.
Correct.
I beg of you.
Addiction knows no bounds when it comes to this.
Thank you. Let's go to that break, and we'll return right after this.
Go, sona. I come in. And don't give me no attitude there.
You have shit no manners, boy. I wish I had your touch, boy.
You have to groom them. First, you have to target them. Scope them out. See if they have low self-esteem, family problems, you know? Then you move in and gain the trust.
I like your glasses.
After that, you feel a need. Some of them like nice things like fancy phones, hairdos, clothes, food. It have ones who only looking for somebody to care and listen to their problems. You feel me? What's important though, you have to isolate them from the people. Let them believe it's all about you and them.
I care about you.
Then you get through.
Nice.
Look one right here. Try a thing now.
A message from the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Hello. Hi, this is Patricia Kent from HMP London. Can I speak to Miss Sheila, please? This is Miss Sheila. Hi, I've got an important call for you. Please hold the line.
Mommy, it's Sherry.
Oh, God, Sherry, we looking for you all the time. 3 weeks now. Where you going?
Mommy, I called in to tell you I get locked up. I had drugs in my luggage and I'm in England right now. In jail.
Oh, God, Sherry, what? What you do? How you reach there? Oh, God, how we gonna do?
Oh, God, Mommy, don't cry. It'll be all right. Sorry.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM. Don't miss it.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, through the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, continues to develop and implement effective policies and procedures to prevent and suppress human trafficking. To date, the National Task Force has developed 2 national plans of action against the crime of trafficking in persons. Trinidad and Tobago adopts a 4-pronged approach in its response to human trafficking. 1. Effective identification of victims and witnesses. 2. Prevention of human trafficking. 3. Protection of victims and witnesses. And 4. Prosecution of suspected traffickers. In the Ministry of National Security, we established a specialized unit called the Counter-Trafficking Unit to lead and manage Trinidad and Tobago's response to human trafficking. The Counter-Trafficking Unit works closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Immigration Division, and international law enforcement agencies to aggressively and proactively investigate and prosecute suspected human traffickers. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Rest assured, the government of Trinidad and Tobago and its agencies remain committed in the fight against human trafficking and will respond with immediate effect when the need arises.
We are the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Eye on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you for staying with us. And remember, while you're on Facebook and YouTube, please continue to like and subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
Let us, because as I told you, we have big plans for this channel, especially YouTube in the new year. We want you to be a part of it because some of you could even get paid for looking at videos. So think about that, like and subscribe, click on that bell, and look out for future notifications.
Yes.
So what we're going to do now is folks, I'm really sorry if anybody's taking this, but I don't think I should apologize.
No.
Because there's a thing called advocacy. And some people, we tend to speak about advocacy, but when people do it, we have a problem. We know the judiciary don't find favor with us too much. We know that. It's okay. But advocacy, and let me tell you what advocacy means, people. Public support for or recommendation of a particular cause or policy. Sometimes outspokenness through advocacy, you win no friends. You make enemies, but yet there are people who would still encourage advocacy. We have to make up our minds what we want. All right? Now, and then Shortman has a video with a young lady. We'll show you that that was sent to me. I sent that to Shortman 2 a.m. this morning. 2 this morning. Begging him to give us a blight to show you it. Because to the magistrates, I want you to see what these drugs do to people. So the next time somebody comes in front of you with a trailer load of these Class A drugs, go to the sentencing book if there is one, or discuss it first before you make a decision, and send a doctor who is a poly addict back to work. This doctor should be in rehab right now with immediate effect. The medical board should make a comment now. This has been happening way too often, and it's time for the medical board to speak up. One question I have for the medical board: are doctors subjected to a random drug testing? Are any of their colleagues assigned to observe them? And because it's a stressful environment.
While you're talking, Garth, Shortman, please put up image T, please.
Yes, put up image T. Folks, this is ketamine. This is what ketamine looks like. Ketamine, apart from it falls in the same category as GHB and Rohypnol. They are date rape drugs. So even though it's used recreationally, they can also be used as a date rape drug.
Now, ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic that has some hallucinogenic effects. It distorts perception of sight and sound and makes the user feel disconnected and not in control. It's an injectable, short-acting anesthetic for use in humans and animals. It can induce a state of sedation, feeling calm and relaxed, immobility, relief from pain, and amnesia. So you have no memory of the events while under the influence of the drug. It is abused for its ability to produce dissociative sensations and hallucinations, and also abused to facilitate sexual assault.
You understand, Doc? Magistrate Raphael? So suppose this doctor was using this ketamine to date rape, let's say. Because remember, the person don't have any memory the next day, wouldn't have any memory of what happened to them when this drug is abused. So let's go to the video now on ketamine. If you didn't understand what Natasha just read, listen to this.
Ketamine is a drug that is better known on the streets as K, Special K, Jet, Cat Valium, Super C, or Super Acid. Its medical use was intended to replace PCP as an anesthetic for human patients. However, it produced too many adverse side effects and was later transitioned to animals for use as an anesthetic. This hasn't stopped young people from abusing it by injection or swallowing it, or smoking it, and it was placed on the DEA's list of controlled substances in the third category in 1999. Most people abuse it for its dissociative qualities, which makes him or her feel detached from self or the environment. This is often called the K-hole, or an out-of-body experience. Experiencing the K-hole requires a substantial dose, which simulates a near-death experience. At its most popular time in the 1980s, young people used it as a party drug, and 30 years later, not much has changed. In 2013, the Survey of Drug Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration reported that almost 500,000 young adults between the ages of 18 and 25 had used ketamine at least once in their lifetime. While ketamine addiction isn't a national epidemic like opioids, it does have habit-forming and addictive properties and should be regarded cautiously. Shortly after ketamine is ingested, one is plunged into an overwhelming feeling of calm, relaxation, and euphoria that is felt throughout the body. Hallucinations often make an appearance that outlast the anesthetic effects of the dose as well. This high lasts for about an hour and then gives way to more alarming side effects such as confusion, increased heart rate, a rise in blood pressure, and disorientation. Regular use of the drug often results in long-term damage such as kidney problems and thickened bladder walls, which prevent the passage of urine. But these aren't enough to dissuade many young people from abusing the drug. The pleasant short-term effects often overpower the concerns for the risk of the medically unsupervised use of ketamine to get high. Others use it to self-medicate psychological symptoms that get in the way of daily life, such as depression, anxiety, and thoughts of suicide, as ketamine takes effect shortly after ingestion. The tremendous relief of these symptoms is short-lived, prompting the individual to repeat or increase doses in shorter intervals. Just as one can build a tolerance to ketamine, one can develop an addiction. A ketamine addiction produces the following symptoms: physical abnormalities after the drug wears off, such as trembling, sweatiness, headaches, the loss of appetite, and strong cravings for more. Trying to stop using the drug is impossible, no matter how much the person wants to. Much time is spent thinking about the drug, how to get it, spending money on it, and the next opportunity for abuse. Interest is lost in previous priorities, goals, and obligations. Willingness to sacrifice important relationships, job, home, and even dignity is realized. Too much or too little sleep. Active ketamine addiction isn't a permanent condition. Recovering from addiction is not only possible, but it's within reach. After detoxing the body of the drug, substance abuse treatment should begin immediately. Although the physiological effects of the drug are overcome in detox, the psychological effects remain for several weeks. Substance abuse treatment facilitates an environment free of temptation for the recovering ketamine-addicted person. During this time, evidence-based therapies and other treatments are used to heal damaging thought patterns and relationships. It's not too late to get help.
So that was a very comprehensive overview of the drug ketamine. Of course, this is a US-based video, but everything remains true. The drug is a dangerous drug according to our laws in Trinidad and Tobago.
No. One thing he said at the beginning, I don't know if you magistrates heard it, those of you who are listening, that it was placed on the DEA's list of controlled and dangerous drugs. On the DEA's list. You should have that knowledge with you when somebody's coming before you, because I'm sure you knew that this doctor was coming to you and what was the case. I don't think it works where police just carry a man in court and say, we have this here, magistrate, deal with it.
No, you would have it on your docket,
know, right?
Yes, yeah.
Right. So she would know, he or she would know what is coming before them.
Yes.
You knew. Do the research. It is on the DEA's list of dangerous drugs. Let's go to ecstasy now. Short man, let's go to ecstasy.
So we have an image here.
We have an image of what ecstasy looks like. Have you ever seen this in your house? It looks like chiclets. It looks like sweetie.
It looks like.
You know?
These are the pills that they popped, and they usually have like a stamp on it with an icon or symbol of some kind.
No.
And also, it's next to a media advisory, because remember, in 2022, they found a whole stash of ecstasy. Remember that?
And this is a release from the Ministry of National Security now.
Mm-hmm.
What does the Texi?
The Ministry of National Security wishes to advise the general public that the results of tests conducted by the TT Forensic Science Center reveal that the recent seizures of different tablets containing MDMA, better known as ecstasy, as well as other synthetic drugs. These drugs used alone or combined in mixtures with other new psychoactive substances, make their effects unpredictable from one user to another. As we prepare for the coming days and weekends with many parties and other events, such as Carnival in Tobago, the ministry wishes to alert the public to the availability of these tablets and the effects of consuming these tablets. The public is reminded that in 2019, our schedule of drugs found in the Dangerous Drugs Act was updated so that possession and use of these drugs are now illegal in Trinidad and Tobago.
And that was from the Ministry of National Security. We have a lot of young people right now using drugs before they even reach 20. And we want to warn you again. If you think it's cool to give your child drugs to use, give them brownies to eat or to carry to school to sell, their brains are not going to be fully developed until they reach the age of 25. So we have a lot of young people right now walking around our midst, damaging their brains already.
Mm-hmm.
Their brain cells are being fried because their brains are not fully developed. Please bear this in mind. All right, we're not making this up. This is scientifically proven. If you're just joining us, let's go to the video now. And remember, these pills were caught or intercepted on the way to the owner of a mass band.
Yes, yes.
Remember this, folks?
Yes.
40,000 of them to distribute to masqueraders.
Mm-hmm.
You see, again, there are people out there who don't care if you get hooked after. They just want you to help them look good. That's it. That's it.
Yes.
They don't care about you.
Correct.
So you pay $7,000, $8,000 for your costume. You get a nice red or orange pill to pop to help us keep popping.
Keep going on your
and
road.
jumping.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the video, short man.
MDMA, also known as ecstasy or Molly, is a psychoactive drug that is often used recreationally for its euphoric and empathogenic effects. But what exactly is happening in the brain when someone takes MDMA? To understand the effects of MDMA on the brain, it's important to understand the role of neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in regulating mood, emotions, and social behavior. MDMA works by increasing the levels of serotonin in the brain, leading to a surge of positive emotions such as happiness, euphoria, and increased sociability. This is why MDMA is often referred to as a feel-good drug. Dopamine is another neurotransmitter that plays a role in regulating mood and emotions. MDMA also increases the levels of dopamine in the brain, leading to feelings of pleasure and euphoria. This is why MDMA can be addictive, as the brain is being flooded with pleasurable feelings. Norepinephrine is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in regulating the body's stress response. MDMA increases the levels of norepinephrine in the brain, leading to increased energy and alertness. This is why MDMA is often used in party settings, as it can be made to make people feel more energized and sociable. However, it's important to note that the effects of MDMA on the brain are not all positive. The drug can have a number of negative side effects, including anxiety, depression, confusion, and even hallucinations. Additionally, MDMA is toxic to the brain's neurons and can cause long-term damage to the brain if taken in large doses or over prolonged periods of time. MDMA can also lead to a number of physical side effects, such as dehydration, overheating, and high blood pressure. Overheating can cause the body to lose electrolytes, which can lead to muscle cramps, and dehydration can cause headaches and nausea. In some cases, this can lead to serious health problems such as heat stroke or kidney failure. Another thing to keep in mind is that the effects of MDMA can vary depending on the individual and the setting in which it's taken. Factors such as mental health, previous experiences with the drug, and the presence of other drugs can all influence the effects of MDMA on the brain. In conclusion, MDMA is a psychoactive drug that works by increasing the levels of serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine in the brain. While it can produce feelings of euphoria, increased sociability, and increased energy, it can also have a number of negative side effects such as anxiety, depression, and physical health problems. Additionally, it can cause long-term damage to the brain if taken in large doses or over prolonged periods of time.
Right. So let's go one time to mushrooms. Put up the picture again.
While they may look like any ordinary mushroom, magic mushroom.
Sorry. No, sorry.
Pull the trigger on that one.
You heard the side effects of this one, right? Again, paranoia and all of these things. This is in the hands of a doctor right now, because the police would seize what they arrested him with, but he will get more.
Correct.
And he just goes on to using these while being a medical practitioner. I ask again, are doctors giving random drug tests? And are we really careful about medical professionals and how they proceed in this country?
I doubt that very much.
Let's go to mushrooms. Put up the mushrooms, picture of the mushroom and the video.
A picture, just the video.
Oh, the video. Okay, let's go to the video short one. Thanks.
While they may look like any ordinary mushroom, magic mushrooms are very complex. They include about 180 mushroom species that contain the psychoactive chemical psilocybin. When ingested, psilocybin is converted by the body to psilocin, which causes hallucinogenic or psychedelic effects, including changes in perception, mood, and thought, and could even be used to treat mental disorders. Depending on a variety of factors, including the strength of the mushroom, amount consumed, and the person's size, the mind-altering effects can last anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. These chemicals have a similar molecular structure to serotonin, which is used by your body to deliver messages between nerve cells and plays a role in many important functions like mood, sleep, and digestion. Because these are so similar, psilocin binds to these same receptors, but it's the activation of one of these receptors in particular, 5-HT2A, that causes the trippy effect, which can include a more open mind, an intense sensory experience, and hallucinations. 5-HT2A are widely found in the cortex, the area of the brain responsible for reasoning and rational thought, and they themselves are associated with the regulation of mood, imagination, and perception. Some research has also found that psilocin affects another part of the brain called the default mode network, which becomes active when your mind wanders during introspection. The scientists responsible for this study believe that psilocin interferes with the neural connections here, forcing the brain to make new, unusual connections that result in a fragmented sense of self. This rewiring of the brain is helping scientists treat mental health disorders that are marked by fixed patterns of thinking, like depression. One clinical trial even found that psilocybin-assisted therapy can alleviate major depressive disorder symptoms, in some cases for at least a year. Scientists are also researching its effects on OCD, addiction, and end-of-life anxiety. Of course, this is all in a research setting, and like any drug taken recreationally, magic mushrooms can pose a serious health risk and in some cases be life-threatening. If too much is taken, you can overdose and experience vomiting, psychosis, seizures, and even end up in a coma. Or you can have a negative reaction known as a bad trip, where you may see a really unpleasant hallucination or feel panic or fear. People who don't have a support system around them can find themselves in a pretty dangerous and scary situation. So please act responsibly and leave the mind-altering medication and substances to professionals. You don't want to risk having those issues I previously mentioned. You also don't want to risk getting misidentified poisonous ones or any mushrooms laced with something really bad.
All right.
There you go.
There you go.
Now, we'll show you the robbery that took place on Charlotte Street. And I asked you the question, were these guys on any of these substances? So, magistrate, you see how serious this is? This one produces psychosis, hallucinations. Do you want a doctor running around with a scalpel, if he's a surgeon, who has the chance of hallucinating while doing an operation? Again, it's a best-kept secret society. So nobody knows what happens, and we're not calling. Gary called Dr. Khan. We don't want any harm come to this doctor. You know what we want is help for this doctor.
He needs help.
He needs help, magistrate, and you missed the opportunity once again to get him help by finding him $6,000. $14,000, something he could spend in Miami on a weekend, and. He paying up with his eyes closed. He's not going to prison. We know that. But You've just heard all the signs and symptoms of using these Class A drugs. It's over to you now. You all decide what you should do the next time somebody comes in front of you with these Class A drugs.
And to be fair, we should give a round of applause to the police too. Doing their job.
Yes.
And apprehending people with these dangerous drugs. Something that they do every day. But this time, they happened upon what seems to be one of our protected citizens in Trinidad and Tobago. Because I am absolutely sure that if it was someone who is not in that profession, someone who probably have a skin color like mine and did not have access to money would be in prison right now.
Without a doubt. We know that. And as I said, we know there's a balancing act with you magistrates especially, dispensing with justice, pleasing the public and being handing a just sentence. But then there are some times when you have to take these things into consideration, understanding that if this doctor is pushing, he probably pushing to more other doctors. He probably has a circle of doctors who he supply drugs. All you know. So let's go to that video. And for those of you who just heard about it or you didn't see it, this is what happened on Charlotte Street only yesterday, Friday or Thursday. Was caught on CCTV. These 3 young men did to a senior citizen.
And I slowed down a part of it so you could see how they were manhandling her.
Now, for those of you on radio, 3 young men, like walking out of the zombie apocalypse, just pounced on this woman. She's wearing a white top, green top, and a white pants. She's holding on to the bag for dear life because she knew what it has in that bag.
In it, yes.
And they drag her down the pavement, kicking her, beating her. Tell me, if and this guy amazed me. He was part of the robbery, and he's walking with her like normal. Bullshit. Yeah, and he was part of the robbery. Now tell me, what are these guys on? Are they on a drug? Are they on a substance? Or this is just natural? How would we know? When they are, and they got arrested recently. Thankfully, the police arrested for all of them. Look, kick to the face. She's still in let go the bag. Kick in the back. She holding on, and they're dragging this woman down the pavement with her bag, her possession, kick her in the back of her head. This is what's happening for those of you listening on radio. This is what young men did to a mother. Now tell me, are they on a substance? We will never know. Why? Because they are not drug tested when they are arrested.
Correct.
So whatever drug circulating out there, whether it's ketamine, ecstasy, molly, you name it, these drugs produce this kind of aggressive behavior. I was there before. It's just that I never went to this level. But the drugs now that are available now to our people is on a different level. It's turning them into predators, into zombies, into animals. And it is time we get a drug testing squad so we know what we are fighting against. Right now, we don't know who we're fighting or what we're fighting. And this is what I keep asking for. To the judiciary, we mean no disrespect. I keep saying that over and over. I don't know why I have to say it. But it's called advocacy. And we pray and we hope that you will understand our stance here and work to help our citizens. We have a National Drug Council. You all get in the caucus again and come up with some things to help us understand what the enemy we're fighting against. Unfortunately, in the National Drug Council, even NADAP don't have addicts who, recovering addicts. Let's use that term. Unfortunately, but it's called the National Drug Council. And there was one time, the class thing in Trinidad and Tobago, boy, is what bothers me. There was one time we walked into a meeting, thankfully, Mr. Percival and I must say Mr. Larry Russo, they respected us when they were chairpersons of the National Drug Council. But the look on their faces, the DP was in that room, and Colonel Robinson and all them, and the look on their faces of disdain. And, what he doing in here? It's a hallowed room of respected PhD holders. And this crack addict walking inside and looking at me, and I see it in my mind, but all you don't know is because of people like me, you all have this council running. They seem to forget that. Listen, let's go to Dr. Khan. Good morning. Dr. Fuad Khan, good morning to you.
And
Dr. Khan?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, we hear you
Hearing
now.
you now.
Good morning,
morning.
Doc. Thank you very much for
Morning,
willing to speak with us. Tell us what you think about this scenario with this doctor caught with these class A drugs.
Those drugs, Garth, as I have said, those drugs, ketamine, ecstasy, and shroom, are drugs that are used all over, and it's starting to infiltrate Trinidad, where they spike girls. Those drugs are used to spike women's drinks, and also ecstasy and rohypnol, and those drugs are used to spike drinks and cause mental confusion and early anesthesia and date rape. That is a serious set of items that the doctor was carrying. And I think the police supposed to investigate that further, because this could be an input into who was using these drugs. Now, I read on the papers, he said it's for self-use. That doesn't make any sense, because nobody will use ketamine on themselves, ecstasy on themselves, and the shroom. So I think it should have been investigated and dealt with further, because we have a serious problem in this country and in different parts of the world, and it's catching on with ketamine, where you put ketamine in women's drinks and they knock out. They don't know what's happening. They have amnesia. They have anesthesia. They are raped and dumped. And those drugs could also do cause a respiratory arrest, and they could die as a result of respiratory arrest. So it's not something that you have it there for self-use and you get a... No. The medical board has to take this up. And the medical board has to look at this doctor seriously. Now, it's in the public domain, and the medical board has the right, based on the legislation, to call in that doctor and deal with him in a very serious manner.
Dr. Khan,
I feel stronger about the items that were found on him. They are all used for date rape.
Yes, Dr. Khan, and as a former Minister of Health, and forget that part, the doctor in you, as a medical practitioner for how many years now, Dr. Khan? How many years have you been a practitioner?
1982.
1982. Now, doctors are human too, and they sometimes their job can be very high paced. In your tenure, have you run across colleagues who are addicted to a substance or activity?
A lot. There are a lot of colleagues addicted to substance, but because they are doctors, seeking help is something that is very difficult because they are blacklisted.
Oh. So
among their colleagues, you mean?
A lot of my colleagues, yes. Some of them with substance abuse, such as alcoholism, such as sleeping pills, some with different substances.
Right.
And a lot of it is alcohol-induced. Some with cigarettes, believe it or not. Cigarettes are a drug of abuse, nicotine.
Yes.
As well as other drugs of abuse, sleeping with pills, uppers, downers, drugs used for attention deficit disorders such as amphetamines are also used. Now, and they become easy access, okay? And because they're easily accessible, it's easy to be abused.
Yep.
Now, as you all know, addiction is a mental disease.
Yes.
And substances just fulfill the area for it. But doctors it's very difficult for a doctor to seek professional help externally with Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, and those things. Because then they are stigmatized, discriminated against, and everything else. So they're stuck in their addiction.
So, Dr. Khan...
But I'll be honest with you. What I read about happening with this other matter, Those are not drugs of abuse, you know.
Well, for some people they are. Some people can use them.
Ketamine is not a drug of abuse.
For some people, right?
No, that is a drug that is used for other things.
Yes, it can be also used in criminal acts,
Mhm.
such as date rape and all of that.
That is what's being used these days. That is a big thing in Colombia.
Yes, yes, it is. But Dr. Khan, the medical board, don't they offer doctors? Don't the medical fraternity have an EP? I mean, of all places.
No, they don't.
What?
They don't.
A high stressful job like that, especially during the COVID time.
Anything like that for doctors. They have nothing for doctors.
Come now, man. No, man. Don't say
Doctors
that.
are very badly treated in their own system.
So would you recommend then?
You're not supposed to get sick. I recommend a lot to the doctors. I try to do it, but you remember you have to go to the RHAs and other things.
Yeah.
Let's hear your recommendations again for doctors who would be suffering from the disease of
Doctors are
addiction.
supposed to be given the benefits of go seeking assistance in the units, right? And also, HR is supposed to put things in place, as they say, EAP, assistance program, which they don't have. Daily paid workers have it, everybody else has it, but doctors don't have it.
That is madness.
That's crazy.
That is madness. What? Dr. Khan, this is incredible. That.
So would a doctor seek the advice even of one of his colleagues, maybe a mental health professional, psychologist, psychiatrist, in those circumstances? Is that done?
Only if it gets very bad to the point that it is exposed.
Oh, okay, I see.
If it's not exposed, nobody looks at it.
So an addiction is even worse when it's hidden.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Doctors have a lot of hidden addiction. So too lawyers.
Wow.
I mean, there's something. It's easier to get help when you're not a professional in this country.
Yeah, because of the stigma associated with the disease, I
And
suppose.
it's a small place,
Yeah.
and everybody talks and runs them out.
Yep.
And next thing everybody know your business.
Yes.
And that's it. That's the sad part too. You know that
Yeah.
some people are afraid to reveal they have a problem because.
No, they don't.
Yeah. Dr. Khan.
Because they're stigmatized.
Dr. Khan, we want to thank you so much for speaking your mind,
Thanks for
speaking your
calling.
truth, and
All right.
yes, thank you for your support.
you, sir.
God bless
You
you.
take care, Lil. Take
Take care. That was Dr. Fuad Khan, former Minister of Health, speaking about, in his capacity now as a medical practitioner, about this doctor. So, Magistrate Sharon Raphael, you see how much things you missed with this? You had an opportunity to save a life and save lives.
Yep.
And yet you let it slip through your fingers. Maybe it's ignorance, we don't know, but unfortunately it already happened. Covades.
Yep.
Covades. We need to do something. Let me show you another video before we take some call. Let me show you another video of a young lady who was interviewed who admitted to taking pills when she's only 18. Short man, you have it, you could show it. The one I use is
today I'm with Mariah.
And right, let's go. Look at
Mariah, how old are you?
18.
And Mariah, how long have you been using these pills, counterfeit fentanyl pills known as blues?
Since December.
And back in December, who introduced you to these pills?
My baby daddy.
How old is your baby?
Died.
My condolences for the loss of your baby. Does your family know that you're out here?
Some of them.
And have you tried treatment to get better?
No.
Do you think you will soon?
Yeah.
And you're really young out here all by yourself. Like, doesn't it scare you? Like all the dangers out here?
Sometimes.
And where did you sleep last night, Mariah?
Outside in cement.
Back in December, when you tried these for the first time, Was it like at a party, or your boyfriend at that time just introduced you to them and you tried them?
Yeah. He was doing them in the room.
And when your first time trying it, how did it affect you?
I don't remember.
What's the youngest person you've ever seen out here, Mariah?
18.
The youngest person I've seen out here is 13.
13.
13, 14, 15. They're really young. Why do you think people are so young or trying these pills, Mariah?
I don't know.
Do you think it's peer pressure? Do you think they want to be cool?
Both.
Both? But these pills aren't something to glamorize or something to want to try. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Do you regret taking those pills back in December?
Yes.
Do you have younger siblings?
Yeah.
How would you feel if your younger siblings were out here on the streets doing these pills?
Sad. Upset.
And right now, Mariah, are you going through withdrawals, or how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I am.
How many pills do you need per day?
I used to smoke like over 30 a day.
30 pills a day?
Yeah. My body, I haven't had that much.
Wow, that was very difficult to watch. Again, just for those of you who may have missed it, she is smoking a concoction of fentanyl and ecstasy.
Pills.
So she would crush up the pills and then heat them up.
It's the new killer in town, folks.
Fentanyl.
And you think your daughter is safe? You think your son is safe? You see, when children hang in certain circles too, who can get these class A drugs easy, you don't know what's going on. But sometimes you find they get reclusive, they're locking up in their room very often, they're not socializing very often, their whole mood and attitude change. That's a sign and symptom. And we have a different war going on now, people. Understand that. We have a different war we're fighting. And, Barbell used to always tell us the worst enemy is the one that you cannot see. But all you will see is people dropping one by one. We hope you learned something this morning. We hope you learned something. That was the only intention. You see that young lady? It can happen here. Fentanyl is another one that's lurking. And a lot of pushers now mixing marijuana with all type of stuff, because remember, marijuana is decriminalized, right? So people don't have to accept people who selling it now have to spike their stuff to make it stronger than the guy 2 blocks away. Understand that. But they don't care the bodies that drop while they're doing it. So please, don't hate us. Hate the game. You could take some calls, Natasha?
Yes, of course.
You have any comments, any questions, anything we missed? Please call us at 622-3937.
622 eyes.
And
maybe we could take this opportunity to answer some of the
questions on
questions
Facebook.
from Facebook, yes.
Yeah. And as someone said, the medical board ought to exercise a duty of care for medical doctors.
Yes.
I can't believe at that level who's supposed to understand substance abuse do not have EAP for doctors. Are you kidding me? During the COVID time, doctors were stretched to their limit. How these doctors were operating? What were they operating on?
Doctors, nurses,
Fumes?
everybody. Yes.
Doctors, nurses, everybody. And they have their own drug block.
Yep.
Because some of them do have to go on unless they like weed or they like crack. They don't have to go, the drugs right in the hospital and the medical institution itself,
Correct. And fentanyl is one of them that is very easily accessible to physicians and medical personnel. Eh?
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, darling.
Morning.
You are Natasha.
Morning.
I want to say congratulations to the young man you had on your program some months ago, the young man who
Yes.
California.
Romel, yes.
But if you remember what he told you when he was there, that they rob people to live day by day.
Yep.
Yes.
So I don't know if you had to be on something to do the robbery, but to live day by day, they rob people all along Charlotte Street, George Street, Duke Street, any street. Remember what he told you when he was there?
Yes.
Right, so these guys who was interfering with this lady, I don't know if they had to be on something.
On something,
just
exactly.
trying to survive.
But we flying blind,
We don't
We
know.
will never know until we start drug testing people. But thank you very much for your observation. There was even a WPC who got a chain snatched on Charlotte Street as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Guy just run up from behind, snatch it and ran. What do you think he's going to do with that? People.
Sell it for next to nothing.
He don't even care if it's costume jewelry.
Correct. Right.
It's only when he published by the pusher and the pusher examine it, he'll realize, but go for me another is guilt. Kola, thank you so much.
All right, then, take it.
But that's what we did. The people, I didn't snatch anybody's chain, but you put down something unvaluable. I go in with it because my main objective is to go by the pusher and get a hit. And when that hit wears off, I go and do it again to get a next hit. Good morning.
A blessed morning to you, Garth, and especially your lady, Natasha. A blessed day to both of you all. I heard you spoke about the lady, what they did to her. Garth, about 15 years ago, I was coming from Diego Martin, and I don't know what made me pass in the back of Central Bank, and I walking up. And I saw this gentleman on the culvert. Something tell me, don't pass near he, walk on the road. God, and so said, so done. He jumped from on top the culvert and jumped on top me to get my bag. The drain at the side of the road, they had a little bit of water. If you see me fighting, God, snatch on my bag because I have my ID card in my bag. I said, Lord have mercy. When he pulled the handle, and the handle burst and he dashed. And next Mr. come, hello, you want me to take you to the police station? I said, it's a plan in my mind. I said, oh, brother, God, when I come home, I didn't go in the station, I just come home with that.
Yeah.
So you see, these people, they just work together, but they just be scattered.
Yes.
Because how it is he could come from nowhere and ask me if I want help to go to the police. Next thing he will finish, take my bag and do whatever it is.
Exactly.
Oh, Lord, Garth and Natasha, may you all be blessed for bringing all this information. And, oh, God, Lord, have mercy. Let something be done to our blessed country. Thank you and have a blessed one.
And I call it, thank you too. I call in on women, stop walking with handbag if it reaches that, Because give them less to go after. Stop. I know it's dictating your pace, but which one you rather, you know?
But I mean, if you have business to conduct, you have business to conduct.
Right, but there's a better way to carry what you need rather than have this handbag. Because to me, as an addict, that handbag has money in it, It's until I snatch that and go and jump in a hole somewhere and go through the contents. Then I will know what's in it. But what I see is a handbag where you all carry valuables. That's what I will see as an addict. And was a predator.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be safe still. So is there a way, or go with company? Or Natasha, I didn't know
she had company. She had somebody with her.
No, she was alone.
No, there was another lady. The lady who was in front of her.
In the black?
No, I think she had on a light color top and a black
Show that video again. Let me see.
There was another lady with her, but she was powerless to help to stop them.
Now to the young lady who went viral from Siparia. It is not Pleasantville senior second folks, secondary folks. This is the uniform looks similar, but Pleasantville wear black socks and black sneakers. It's not from Pleasantville. Superior, I understand. To the teacher, we want to commend you for your calmness in the face of this child calling her mother. And I want to say to this child's mother, you should have said something already. You should have apologized with your daughter at your side to the Ministry of Education and the teachers by extension for what your daughter did. Now, Natasha threw something, we were discussing it this morning. Natasha said probably the child was bluffing, it wasn't her mother she called. That's what you said, right? You could think that's the scenario
Yes.
too. However,
I also called on, before you get to that point, but I also called on the principal of that school to say something about how one of her members of staff was treated. Where's that statement?
we want to commend the teacher though.
Yes.
For being calm. I know she probably was frightened because if it was one child acting up and the class was quiet and somebody in the class telling a girl, don't talk to miss like that, this is what teachers have to undergo these days, folks. And a lot of our children using drugs as well. This child took her phone, mommy, this so-and-so teacher, what's your name? And come in school now. Now, if your mother or this mother does not support this behavior, the mother should have apologized already.
We don't.
If, for instance, Natasha, if she didn't call the mother and she was just bluffing, all the more reason for the mother to come out to the public and say, hey, she didn't call me,
We don't know if the mother has seen it. We don't know if the mother on Facebook to see it. We don't know. Because the school hasn't said anything either. So there's a lot of assumptions that we're making upon seeing this video.
Natasha.
That's all I want to say.
You don't need the mother to see it.
We don't.
You're going a little too far now.
But we don't. We
so,
don't.
So it's okay then that it happened?
No, of course not. But I'm saying
calm down.
I'm saying as we are viewers of this content, and this is something again, we need to be a little more discerning about these videos that pop up on social media with no context, no explanation. We are making a lot of assumptions about what happened. We don't know what happened before or after. So we don't know the circumstances of every individual who is involved in the video.
But that gives the child the right to disrespect
I'm
the
not
teacher?
saying
well,
that.
Then okay, so then don't tell me we don't know what happened before and after. And then they have a whole class where none in the class even say, hey girl, don't speak to us like that, what you doing? The class supported it.
Because it's like we were never teenagers. We never saw people act up in class and everybody's just kicking because we don't want to get in trouble.
You saw that in your class when you were going to school?
Of course I saw naughty things. I mean, people
this is not
doing
naughty,
things,
Natasha. This is disrespectful.
Not cussing the teacher, of course not. But I'm saying, these are teenagers. Remember the children we're dealing with.
Well, this never happened when I went to school. Never.
Why we pretending like if children acting up and being disrespectful in class is a nowadays thing? It is not. Just like it's not a nowadays thing for children to get pregnant.
Why are you arguing and fighting up yourself? What's going on with you? Relax.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. This is
Good
just...
morning, Garth.
Morning.
Natasha. Good morning. Thank you all as always to educate us on the dangers.
Because you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Real bad.
Thank you. Are you all hear me?
Right.
Hearing you now.
Okay, right. Thank you all for always educating us on the dangers of drugs. Thanks so much. But I wonder, these young men who love to frequent Charlotte Street and harm our innocent citizens, could they really be on drugs or are they really evil and wicked young men? Some of them may be on drugs, but some of them are customary thieves, and I mean, not using the right word, they are constantly harming and stealing from our citizens, and most of these citizens seem to me like, they may be over 50, late 40s, 60s, so I'm here listening. Thank you all so much for the education in these programs.
No, just that you said, the question you asked, this is what I'm saying, we are flying blind. We need to start drug testing these perpetrators to find out if that is the case.
Yes.
And we don't know. We're just flying blind. Right, Natasha?
Yes, no, agreed.
Yeah, we're flying blind. And it is unfortunate. No, understand the two young boys who snatched the chain from the WPC, they attend San Juan Secondary.
Okay.
Somebody posted that, right? But look, I mean, the short man showing the video again, yes, it has been happening for a very long time, Shari. We know that, but it's being televised now. And
That's the only difference. And that changes our perception of the problem. It amplifies our reaction to the issue.
So you don't think the mother should have said something by
Can we
now?
acknowledge that, please? The appearance of these things on social media amplifies our response to it. That is what social media does. That is what these new technologies do.
There's nothing in there. Because Tony Lee just this week, Tony Lee was speaking about cell phone in class.
Yes.
And look, his words, according to your people, is spit and dry yet. And look, a video pops up with a child on a phone, teacher standing, with her hands to her side, very sedate, and the children around her laughing. And if that teacher had only say "hape," would have been bacchanal in that way, because that child wanted that. She was challenging the teacher, and thank God that teacher has the temperament to know, hey, let me try to de-escalate by not doing anything, rather than escalate by trying to discipline.
Agreed. I also saw a video with children using cell phones, giving gifts to their teachers. I saw that as well.
Right.
Okay,
No,
so
it
it's
can be
not
used for
all,
good.
Of course.
But,
Like
and
with
we
any
commend
tool-
those children, who did that for their teachers on World Teacher Day.
Mhm.
That was so cute, and we'll show that video next week.
As
please,
with
God.
any tool, people need to learn how to use it. That is my point.
Hello,
a
good
phone is a
morning.
device. It's a tool.
6223937. Good morning.
Hello?
Morning.
Morning.
Hi, morning. My question is, doesn't the state, with regard to this doctor, doesn't the state have the option to appeal the judgment?
Perhaps if they are so guided by, I think the prosecutor in this case would have been the DPP, so perhaps we don't have all that information, but I'm sure that if more information comes to light, they could appeal, yeah.
What was the question? Sorry.
Whether the state could appeal the sentence or the sentence given,
Right.
as in the fine, and change it to something else.
Well, some legal mind listening will have to tell us that.
Yeah.
But someone could write to the medical board. I think the judiciary could still do that. Write to the
Yes.
medical board,
They
right?
could. They could.
Okay.
To let them know that
thank
one of
you.
their members,
You're welcome.
yes,
Yeah,
has been
and-
convicted of X crime, and this was the sentence imposed, and
Yeah.
maybe they may do that as a point of information.
Natasha, Natasha and I not vexed. It's just that the way we converse. And it's not usual for Sunday morning, but when we discussing topics like this,
We're very passionate
and
in our
Natasha
debates.
gets very defensive of certain things at times.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning to the panel.
Look, good morning, sir.
Morning. That was really a topic twice this week on the morning show, right? About the cell phones in schools.
Right.
But even though they could also be used for good because of the negativity it's being used for right now, I think they should honestly do something about that cell phone in school. Because if you look, it's not the child that the young lady that was misbehaving was recording as another child, and who knows if it had other kids in the class recording.
Yeah.
So look at how much cell phones were out, because you actually see she took up her cell phone and called her mother, which also tells something about that parent. Because I know, big as I am, I can use obscene while speaking to my parents. Right? That teacher, what school was it?
Well, we're hearing this mover now. We're not sure.
All of this information we don't have.
I want to go to that school with a bouquet of roses in a vase and just hand it over to the teacher. It shows her level of discipline, right, as a teacher. Because I know and you know it could have ended a different way. And that is what they probably wanted to see. Kudos, Smith. Well done.
Thank you.
Have a
thank
blessed
you.
day.
Thank you.
I would like to hear from young people themselves about this cell phone issue. Let us hear what they're thinking and what they... Can we hear from them? We are making decisions for them and about them. Can we hear some young people on this issue? That would be instructive, because we tend to feel like these children have no brain, right? They just they're just bad and they just have no respect and they this and they that. Can we hear from some of them? Can we allow their voices to be heard? They have rights too, you know.
Morning. Yeah, Mova Lavanti with the school, the ones who did the video for the teachers. And giving out the gift.
Correct.
Yeah. Well
Correct.
done to them.
Morning.
Morning, Garth and Natasha.
Morning.
And the video with the child who was on top of the chair with the giving the teacher lip. What school that is?
They said it was Siparia.
Oh gosh, because
Yes.
I saw the burgundy skirt, I thought it was Southeast. Lord, when I saw that, I just remember Chalk Dust Calypso. You make one.
Mm-hmm.
I waiting to hear if the guardian of that girl, whether mother, father, grandmother, aunt, take her and apologize in front of the class where she gallery herself and feel, you know, I just try to figure out, wait, them just get a medal when they get on, so what? like they have, the Ministry of Education had trophy that they just give, because I watching all the paparazzi. Oh God, they're taking it out like she's doing something so good, right? I love how those students was showing love to the teacher that day of International
That was
Teachers Day
beautiful.
or whatever. Yes, that's where we.
That
Let
happened
me
on the
tell
same
you.
day as International Teachers Day?
Yeah, it had
Wow.
some Teachers Day Friday going on to.
What a gift that teacher got.
Yeah, here now. Let me tell you. I tell two friends of mine. I say, you see them school fight? Don't send them thing on my phone at all. I don't want to see it because that is glorifying it and they're feeling nice. Send me something like what those children did. You see the little boy who lost his father, who got the award for they had some award for entrepreneur or whatever, and the guy who father was in the Trinidad, he used to sing Trinidad music and he got gunned down. You see that young man, that video where that guy, you see that boy's speech when in that prize giving, he should be able to go to schools and speak to them young people and let them see and let them hear him say he went through pain and he could have turned the other way and he turned it around into something that the father would have feel proud for him. Them is the video I want to see. I don't want to see Sarah Children fighting. If you know that is get me mad. No,
Thank you.
I don't want to see Sarah Children fighting.
Thank
God, when you started, you was talking about a doctor and something with drugs. Is that up in Grandy?
Yeah, that happened in San Grande Magistrates Court. And that story was released on the day of the opening of the law term, ironically.
We posted it on our
the
Facebook
doctor,
page.
is he from the Grandy Hospital? Or
No, we don't know which
We don't
hospital
know.
he is attached to. We don't know.
I thought Grandy was in the news again because I had a doctor at Grandy who was from India. Caught him stealing drugs. And you know, I just say we real jokey, you know, we not mighty. When that man was caught, you know, we like to do this, do it with the police officers, transfer them when they misbehave in public office. You know, that man was sent to Bago, that same doctor, Dr. Raj or Mula or something. Next thing you hear, just pull it up. That same man was caught trying to ship cocaine to Jamaica. I say, well, yes, well, all you didn't do him nothing, so.
Who,
he
the
went
doctor?
at it. Yes. Look, if I have your thing, I'll go send it for you.
Please do.
That
Wow.
man was sent to Bago. All you think it easy? Man,
Thank you.
Have a blessed morning.
And let's not forget, as we on the cell phone issue, I just wanted to make this point that not only young people, not only children, adults use their phone to record things in motion and send it around the world, right? When people behaving bad and doing stupidness. Adults do the same thing, eh? So please, can we not put all of this on young people, please? I don't want this to become a young people bashing issue because adults do it as well. The cell phone is a device, it is a tool, and anybody can misuse it. That is not a reason, because of this video that became viral is not an excuse to deprive young people of access to a cell phone in school.
Good morning.
Yes, dear.
Morning, God.
Morning.
Hello, good morning.
Nice program. Here happening. All you try and retrace all the steps. Remember, it had a magistrate, the whole rum drinking, and they charge him or they pat him money back, and he back on the bench sentencing people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, yes,
And then it had two other doctors, some in Pleasantville. They work last night and they want to buy drugs and like the pusherman send you runners and them to rob them. You can remember that?
Hmm.
And the drug was in the car and the police hold them and was some kind of shooting business.
Yeah, one of them got killed actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
You understand? So it take root, but it's in inverted commas, white collar crime.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
That's all. Yes, thanks a lot.
Trinidad and Tobago, all I'm asking you, to the young people listening, don't wait till you reach my age to realize, gosh, I should have made more use of my 20s, my teens and my 20s. Please, I'm begging you. We live in a treacherous time now.
We do.
And you need to speak to your children. Beg them. Plead with them. Stay away. Stay away. Stay away.
Educate them.
Good
about
morning.
drugs.
We have one more.
Yes,
Good morning. Morning.
Yes, morning. As a young person, I listen to this program diligently. And I have to say that I have had a lot of examples before me of people that were addicted to drugs. So that I had an example before and then paid that price. I'm not going down that road. I just want to commend you and your wife that for the level of work you all are doing and the kind of policies you all are trying to drive. Because that policy of testing people that are involved in crime, involved in accidents, involved in murders, to see if what drugs they are using at the time of the incident will greatly help the law enforcement in the country to know, because look, with the Chinese man there, we had no idea that drug was being, the authorities are known, but the general public did not know.
Yeah.
Right? And if it is that they had a register or a record of it from before, it is that is an added level of intelligence the police would have had.
Correct.
You understand? And that would have gone a long way. And then now, from your perspective now, you could have been warning people about the
Look out
dangers
for a
of
certain
that
type of drug. Yes.
Yes, long before it actually burst out in the public, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So where we had to go
So
though. Thank you so
your
much, brother.
advocacy is very much appreciated.
Yes, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, young man. And that's it. That's it, Trinidad and Tobago. Natasha, as usual, you did a wonderful job. Well
Thank
done.
you.
And Gary, take care, folks. We have major news coming up at 12 with Janelle Wilson. This has been a very informative program. We hope you learned something.
Yes, and please look at the replay on YouTube or Facebook, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channels while you're there. Thank you.
Major news at 12 with Janelle Wilson.
Good afternoon.